Hello, I am Clara Hayes, founder and creative director of Nova Spark Studios, a name that has become synonymous with innovation and artistry in the global animation industry. Standing on the podium, my hands shaking as I hold the prestigious Oscar statuette for Best Animation Feature. Tears of joy rolled down my cheeks as I thanked those who had accompanied me. In that glorious moment, my eyes suddenly stopped at the row of honor below. My parents Arthur and Eleanor Hayes, along with my brother David, were sitting there clapping enthusiastically, their faces glowing with a pride I had never seen before. Arthur Hayes, my father, the man with the gray hair and stern eyes who more than a decade ago had slammed his fist down on the table in the family living room, his voice hoarse with anger, declaring that my dream of making animated films was nonsense with no future, a waste of money, that I had to give up that childish hobby, immediately to study business administration to prepare to take over the auto parts factory Hayes Manufacturing, the legacy that my grandfather had built and my father had spent his life developing. He said if I did not listen, I would no longer be his daughter, that the Hayes family had no place for a stubborn, thoughtless daughter who would dishonor the family name. Now that same father sitting there was bragging to the distinguished guests around him that his outstandingly talented daughter had just won the most prestigious film award on the planet. Was this 180-degree change in attitude really a result of sincere repentance, or was it just a clumsy act in the glare of success? Our Hayes family is a long-standing business family in Detroit, Michigan, the former capital of the U.S. automobile industry. Hayes Manufacturing is not a giant corporation, but a prestigious auto parts manufacturing company founded by my grandfather and has supported our family for many generations. For my father, Arthur Hayes, maintaining and developing the family business is not just a business, but also a sacred responsibility, a measure of success, filial piety, and family honor. I, Clara, was a young girl who had just graduated from high school carrying a heart full of colorful dreams. I had an innate artistic talent, a burning passion for painting, for telling magical stories through images, and especially for the shimmering magical world of animation. I dreamed of studying at CalArts California Institute of the Arts, one of the most prestigious art schools in the world, to become an animator to create characters, worlds that could touch the hearts of millions of viewers. But my dream in my father's eyes was something completely far-fetched, unrealistic, and unacceptable. He had laid out a perfect path for me, graduate from high school, study business administration at the University of Michigan, then work at Hayes Manufacturing, starting from the lowest positions, gaining experience, and finally taking over the leadership position of the company from him. My father was a patriarchal, decisive, and extremely practical man. For him, art was just frivolous, not profitable, unstable, and completely incompatible with the Hayes family business tradition. My mother, Eleanor Hayes, was a gentle, kind woman. I knew deep down that she probably understood and sympathized with my passion. She had also had artistic dreams when she was young, but had to put them aside to fulfill her duties as a wife and a mother. However, her weakness, fear, and dependence on her husband made her not dare to speak up to protect me, not dare to go against my father's wishes. She only knew how to advise me to listen to my father, don't make your father sad or disappointed. My brother David Hayes is 5 years older than me. He is the pride of our parents, the bright example that I am always compared to. David obediently followed the path that his parents had laid out for him, graduating with a degree in mechanical engineering, then working in the family factory, and gradually being entrusted with important positions by my father. David, like his father, always looked down on my unrealistic dreams. He often sarcastically said that I was only a daydreamer, unrealistic, living in the clouds. Not only my parents and brother, but also my grandparents, uncles, and aunts in the Hayes family often advised and reminded me about the responsibilities of a daughter in a family with a business tradition, about having to continue the family line in the field that the family had built. They thought that my desire to pursue art was selfish and not thinking about the family's future. The tension culminated one summer evening when I received my acceptance letter from CalArts, along with a partial scholarship. I was ecstatic and hoped that this achievement would change my parents' minds. But it didn't. My father, upon seeing the letter, flew into a rage. CalArts cartoons. He almost shouted, his face red with anger. Do you know what you're talking about, Clara? That's not a career, that's child's play. How many times have I told you your future is at Hayes Manufacturing, right here in Detroit? You've got to get that crazy idea out of your head. I tried to explain, tried to present my passion, the potential of the animation industry. But my father did not want to listen. He slammed his hand on the table, his eyes flashing with fire. I give you two choices, he said, his voice fierce. 1, tear up that stupid notice right away, enroll in the economics department of the University of Michigan as planned. 2, you step out of this house and from now on, never call me father again. This Hayes family has no place for an unfilial, stubborn, disobedient daughter like you. The following days were the most stressful and difficult days of my life. My family constantly organized talks, which were actually persuasion and lectures to break my will and extinguish my dreams. My father, with the support of his brother, Uncle Peter, who was also very influential in the family, constantly analyzed the stability, safety, and honor of following the family business, comparing it with the uncertainty and no future of the miscellaneous painting profession that I chose. A girl should find a leisurely, stable office job, then get a good husband to depend on. Why would she pursue frivolous art, wandering here and there, and suffering herself? Uncle Peter often said with a condescending look. My mother used tears to persuade me. Clara, if you love me, please listen to your father this once. He only wants the best for you. If you continue to be stubborn like this, he will be heartbroken, and our family will no longer have peace. David's brother did not hesitate to make sarcastic remarks. Sister, are you sure you have enough talent to compete with others, or can you only draw stupid cats and mice? It's better to stay home instead of going out and failing again, embarrassing the whole family. Even Ethan Vance, my high school boyfriend, who I thought would understand and support me, was hesitant. He advised me to think it over and choose a safer path because he didn't want to see me struggle and be disappointed. He was afraid that if I pursued a difficult artistic path, our relationship would also be affected. And in the end, unable to bear the pressure from my family and the huge difference in life ideals, Ethan chose to break up. All those words, all that pressure were like heavy rocks pressing down on my soul. I felt isolated, turned away by the whole world, just because I dared to have a different dream, a passion like no other. I was extremely miserable and hurt to the core because I was not understood, trusted, and supported by the people who loved me the most. The feeling of being forced, having my dreams taken away, having my talent looked down upon, made me suffocate. There were times when I almost despaired, wanted to give up everything except my fate. But then, after long nights of tossing and turning, crying my eyes out after endless thoughts, something inside me arose. It was self-respect, pride, and most importantly, the flame of passion for art that still burned in my heart that nothing could extinguish. I could not give up my life's dream, could not live a life that others had drawn for me. I had to decide my own destiny. I remember the words of encouragement from my high school art teacher, Mrs. Miller, who was the only person who saw my talent and encouraged me to pursue art. Clara, she once told me, you have a special gift. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't do something. Believe in yourself and have the courage to follow your heart. And I made a decisive decision, a decision that would change my life completely. I would leave home, leave Detroit to go to California to study at CalArts, no matter what hardships I had to face, no matter what support, even the loss of love from my family. When I announced my final decision to my family, my father flew into a terrible rage. He didn't say anything more, just looked at me with cold, distant eyes, then declared bluntly, "Okay. If you have chosen that path, then from now on, never consider me your father again. You are no longer my daughter nor a part of this Hayes family anymore. Just go. You will see, without this family's backing, without my money, you will not be able to do anything. When the time comes, even if you fail miserably, even if you are hungry and miserable, don't come back here crying and begging." My mother could only sob, helplessly watching her daughter about to leave. My brother David looked at me with a look that was both pitiful and gleeful, as if he was waiting to see how I would fail. I packed my things, just a small suitcase containing a few sets of clothes, some art supplies, and all the little savings I had saved from my part-time job during my high school years. I didn't dare look my parents in the eyes for the last time. I quietly walked out of the house that used to be my home, carrying with me a heart that was both painful and broken, but also filled with a fierce determination, a belief in the future, even though it was still very vague. The first years in California were extremely difficult and challenging. The partial scholarship was not enough to cover the expensive tuition at CalArts and the cost of living in a city as lavish as Los Angeles. I had to do all kinds of jobs to make ends meet, waiting tables in restaurants, working as a sales clerk in stores, painting portraits for hire in tourist areas, and taking on freelance graphic design jobs for cheap. There were nights when I had to stay up all night with unfinished drawings, with incomplete animation models. My stomach was growling. My body was exhausted. There were times when I had to face loneliness, homesickness, and even harsh rejections when I brought my portfolio to apply for internships. There were times when I almost collapsed, wanting to give up everything and go back home. But then the passion for art, the will to prove myself, and even my father's harsh words became a strong motivation, urging me to constantly try, to constantly learn, to constantly create. I diligently practiced my drawing skills, my visual storytelling skills, my skills in using advanced graphic and animation software. In a short animation competition for students, my graduation project, a 2D animation film with a strong personal touch, a touching story, and a unique visual style, unexpectedly won first prize. And it was also at that competition that I was fortunate to meet Ms. Olivia Chen. Ms. Chen is an extremely talented and experienced Chinese-American animation producer who has worked for many major Hollywood studios. She saw in me not only a rare artistic talent, but also a fierce passion, a breakthrough creative thinking, and a strong will. Olivia Chen decided to become my mentor, and later my most important business partner. She gave me valuable advice, my first job opportunities, and most importantly, her belief in my abilities. "Clara," she said to me with a warm smile, "you have a gift from heaven. Don't let anyone extinguish it. Soar high, soar far, and create miracles." With Ms. Chen's invaluable help after graduation, I and she founded a small animation studio called Nova Spark Studios. At first, we only took on small projects, commercials, and short animated series broadcast online. I was not only a main artist, but also gradually showed leadership skills, project management skills, and a sharp strategic vision. Nova Spark Studios has gradually made a name for itself in the industry with its unique style, profound and humane content, and especially impressive visual effects, always at the forefront of applying the latest filmmaking technologies. Our first feature-length animated film about the adventures of an orphan girl searching for her family unexpectedly achieved great success in both box office revenue and artistic value. The film has been praised by critics around the world and has received many prestigious international film awards. Since then, Nova Spark Studios has grown rapidly, becoming one of the world's leading animation and visual effects studios, competing head-to-head with the likes of Disney, Pixar, and DreamWorks. We produce blockbuster films, hit TV series, and even popular video games. And I, Clara Hayes, the girl who was forced by her own family to give up her dream, who was considered an unfilial child, became a self-made millionaire, a talented director and animation producer, and a major influencer in the global film industry. My name is mentioned with admiration and respect. And now, at the magnificent Dolby Theater, in the most glorious moment of my life, as I held aloft the prestigious Oscar statuette, I face them again, my parents and my brother David. After the award ceremony ended, while I was busy answering media interviews and receiving congratulations from colleagues and friends, they tried every way to approach me, squeezing through the crowd of reporters and fans surrounding me. My father, Arthur Hayes, the man who once firmly declared that he would disown me, no longer had the same patriarchal and imposing demeanor as before. He approached me, trying to hug me, but I skillfully kept a moderate distance. His voice trembled, full of emotion. "My dear daughter, I I am truly proud of you. You are truly the glory, the precious gem of our entire Hayes family. I knew it. I always knew that you were a special child. You would do great things." My mother also had tears in her eyes, holding my hand tightly. Her voice choked. "Clara, you are so good. You have done things that I never dared to dream of. I am so sorry for not understanding you in the past, for not supporting you. Please forgive me, my child." Even my brother David, who used to look down on and mock my dreams, now tries to be friendly and approachable. "Congratulations, sister. I always believed in your talent and perseverance. You are truly a living legend in our family." Hearing those words, seeing their sudden and somewhat fake change in attitude, I did not feel happy, nor did I feel elated. There was only a little surprise at first, which quickly turned into a strange calmness, an unconcealable distance. The pain and hurt of the past years, although somewhat healed, were still there like a scar that never completely healed. But now I was no longer the weak, vulnerable Clara of the past. I was strong enough, confident enough to face everything. I kept the calm, polite appearance of a celebrity standing before the public, but in the way I looked at them there was an undisguised irony, a deliberate coldness. The smile on my lips was just a polite smile without any warmth. I politely thanked them for their congratulations, but did not appear overly intimate or emotional. When my father tried to show me off to a few distinguished guests around, saying that I was the pride of the Hayes family, I looked him straight in the eye and said in a calm but clear voice, "I still remember clearly, Dad, the day you said that my dream of making animated films was just nonsense with no future. You said that if I didn't give up that childish hobby to follow in the family business, I would no longer be your daughter. Yet today that very nonsense brought me this prestigious Oscar award, and you said that you knew that I would do great things. Isn't that interesting, Dad?" My words stunned my father, his face showing a hint of confusion and shame. My mother cried even more. My brother David lowered his head, avoiding my gaze. The people around who had heard the conversation also began to whisper, looking at my family with curious and somewhat judgmental eyes. I didn't want to prolong this awkward situation. I had many other important people to meet and thank. I tactfully asked them for permission, then turned to continue talking to Olivia Chen, my teacher and great friend, who had always been by my side, trusted me, and supported me unconditionally. Faced with my calm, tactful, but profound reminders, and perhaps the witnessing of those around them, the Hayes family felt extremely ashamed, guilty, and regretful. The goal of inheriting their reputation, wanting to receive back the successful daughter they had abandoned, could not be easily achieved as they had hoped. The greatest punishment for them, perhaps, was not my revenge, but my resounding success, which had proven eloquently that they were wrong in trying to extinguish my passion, in underestimating my talent. The fact that they had to change their attitude 180 degrees, had to come to praise, to be proud of the daughter they had once disowned, was a bitter psychological and moral punishment. About family relationships. This was an extremely difficult decision for me. I couldn't completely cut them off because, after all, they were my only relatives, my blood relatives. But that relationship would never be the same again. There would be no more absolute trust, no more closeness, no more intimacy, as if nothing had ever happened. I had a private talk with my parents and brother later another day when the emotions had subsided. I explained the hurt and pain they had caused me. I also listened to their apologies and belated explanations. I decided to set clear boundaries. I would not let them interfere with my life or career again. I can forgive what happened in the past, I told them, but I can never forget how it felt to have my whole family turn their back on me when I needed it most. We need time, a lot of time, to see if we can rebuild a new relationship, one based on true respect and understanding. I will not allow them to use my name or wealth for personal gain. As for the family business Hayes Manufacturing, I will never return to take over. I have my own business, a business that I am extremely proud of and passionate about. If the family business is in real trouble and they sincerely ask for help, I can consider it from a purely business perspective or offer limited humanitarian financial support, but not a takeover or full responsibility. That is my father's responsibility and David's. I walked down the red carpet of my life, holding high the prestigious Oscar trophy, a symbol of success, of perseverance, and of never-ending passion. The Hayes family, with their complicated emotions and late regrets, had receded into the background, becoming a part of the past, a valuable lesson. I felt a real sense of liberation, as if I had proven my worth and had overcome the prejudices and impositions of a bygone era. I am grateful to Olivia Chen, who saw the rough diamond in me and helped me polish it to shine. I am grateful to my friends and colleagues who have always believed in me, supported me, and stood by me throughout that thorny journey. I will continue to devote myself to Nova Spark Studios, continue to create meaningful animation works, stories that touch millions of hearts around the world. I may establish a scholarship fund in my name to support young talents from difficult circumstances, those who dare to dream, dare to pursue a different artistic path, so that they do not have to go through the pain and obstacles that I have experienced. They once forced me to give up my dream. But it was that dream, the never-ending flame of passion in my heart, that led me to the brilliant success of today. And the greatest recognition does not come from their late fake praises, but from the satisfaction with the path I have chosen, from the love of millions of viewers around the world, and from the peace of mind when I know that I have lived a life true to my true self. When your family, who once forced you to give up your dreams, even disowned you for daring to go your own way, now turns around to praise and be proud of you for being wildly successful and becoming a millionaire, how do you feel and react? Is Clara Hayes' decision a healthy balance between maintaining self-respect, conditional forgiveness, and setting necessary boundaries? Is it possible to truly heal a family relationship that has been so deeply damaged? Share your thoughts and feelings about this story.